on Avenue Q right by the station, searching her backyard, looking for evidence.
And it's dark back here, so yeah, it is scary. I mean, I thought I felt safe because the police station's right there. It's very sad, and I do send my prayers to the family and his loved ones. I hope they find the guy. I really do.
Deputies with flashlights have been searching every inch of this area. As far as we know, still trying to find who did this to the sheriff's deputy. They're knocking on doors, scouring the area for evidence, and there's been obviously an outpouring of support here in the community and all over social media for this deputy and for his family. We're expecting to get some official
Police have
information
identified that
from
suspect
the sheriff's
as
department.
Thomas Ribby. They say last night, police say they took Ribby into custody last night, and neighbors tell us he's the grandfather of the boy who was shot and killed. Police were called to these apartments near the corner of Price Lane and Augusta for a shooting about 11:30 last night. When they got here, they found that 16-year-old boy with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital where he died. Police have not released the boy's name, but family and friends have identified him as Royce Osborne. Neighbors say he lived here with his mother and his grandfather. They are remembering him as a kid who wanted to have a future in law enforcement.
I knew the kid that got shot. I knew his mother. They've come down. We visit quite often since I've been here. He told the kids at school he always wanted to be a police officer. He always wore a vest and carried around a mic.
Tales of this rally. Good morning, Casey.
Hi, you guys. Good morning. Yes, well, Stop the Poop is what Paul is referring to. That is the slogan here. And this is an organization that started in 2017, and they have continued to fight to stop the sewage crisis that we have here from Mexico going into the United States. Just thousands of gallons of raw sewage. So I have Baron Partlow and then Clint Shipman joining me this morning. The rally is at 10 o'clock this morning, but you are here to talk about just the problems as Imperial Beach residents that you are having, and your organization of Stop the Poop. Talk about the group.
The group formed in early March of 2017 on the Imperial Beach Pier. Good morning, San Diego. And it was right after the big spill of February 2017, where EPA and San Diego Water Quality Control Board from the state of California, Region 9, reported up to 263 million gallons, but we know it was much more than that. And what a lot of people don't realize is that 1 gallon of Mexican sewage, due to the water content, is concentrated compared to U.S. sewage. So there's a 4-to-1 ratio. 1 gallon of Mexican sewage equals 4 gallons of U.S. sewage due to the water content and the dilution of U.S. sewage. So if we're talking 1 billion gallons, say in a month, that flow down the river, you're actually looking at a comparative scale, 4 billion compared to U.S. gallons. A lot of people don't realize that. And this is highly concentrated, highly toxic. It's poison. It contains toxic chemical contamination from all the factories, from all their medical waste. Anything they can throw at us, they do.
Putting a pause on cargo processing at the Bridge of the Americas in El Paso, Texas. It's to free up border officers to help with the processing of the increasing number of migrants who show up at the border. Data from the city of El Paso shows CBP migrant encounters are the highest they've been since May. Texas Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland is a former Border Patrol officer and says this is not a good sign.
At the ports of entry, you have Office of Field Operation officers, and they're there to make sure legitimate trade and travel passes to and from the United States. So we're taking those people from those ports of entry to help Border Patrol because there's simply not enough Border Patrol agents.
Truckers who use the Bridge of the Americas will instead need to go through other crossing points in New Mexico and Texas. Back in April, officials suspended all commercial operations for 3 days at the Bridge of the Americas for the same reason. The head of a truckers association in Juarez, Mexico, then told Border Report the detours and long lines could cost the industry $10 million a day. In California last week, CBP closed a pedestrian border crossing between Tijuana and San Diego called Ped West, also to free up more officers to help with migrant processing because it says the facilities in that area have been operating over capacity. Agents have been dropping off hundreds of migrants in San Diego in daily street releases. In a statement writing, quote, CBP is working according to plan and as part of our standard processes.
Heartbreaking incident at a daycare in the Bronx where one child died and 3 others were hospitalized after showing symptoms of exposure to opioids. Good evening, I'm Arthur Chien. The owner of the daycare tonight is being held without bond, while the other person under arrest is waiting to be arraigned. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini joins us live right now from outside the courthouse in the Bronx with the latest. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Arthur. That daycare owner and her husband's cousin are each facing a string of charges, including murder. She stood before the judge just a short time ago. He is expected to be arraigned either later tonight or tomorrow. This is video of 36-year-old Gray Mendez, the daycare owner, walking out of the 52nd precinct in handcuffs. You can see a serious look on her face. She did not look up at the cameras earlier today. 41-year-old Carlisto Acevedo Brito kept his head down as police walked him out of the same precinct also earlier today. Police allege 1-year-old Nicholas Domenici died after exposure to drugs at Divino Niño Daycare. 3 other children were also exposed, according to the NYPD. Police were called to the daycare Friday afternoon. The children, according to detectives, were unresponsive, all of them treated with Narcan, which is used to reverse drug overdoses in life-threatening situations. The surviving children are still in the hospital. The duo arrested by the NYPD after a search warrant was executed at the daycare. Detectives say they found 1 kilo of fentanyl and 3 kilo presses, essentially drug paraphernalia, inside the apartment that the daycare was operating out of.
And those who are immunocompromised, well, you should get it now. If you're healthy, they say you should still get it. It's available to people 6 months and older. Sean Chitness is live at CVS in Walnut Creek. Sean, good morning to you once again. What is the availability looking like this morning?
Hey, Nicole, good morning. We know that the vaccine arrived to some stores last week. It is arriving to other locations this week, and I did check online with both CVS and Walgreens, depending on where you are. Here in the East Bay, you could get some appointments later this week or into next week, so the advice is the same. Check in advance. The same goes for insurance. It should be covered, but you want to look that up before you arrive at the store. Juliana got the latest COVID shot before anyone else at this CVS in Walnut Creek as the pharmacy starts a new week ready to give out more of the vaccine.
Good. I always like being first.
More than 3 years since the start of the pandemic and multiple boosters to the original vaccine, medical experts are encouraging people to look at this version of the vaccine like the flu shot, something you should get every year.
It's still very prominent. COVID-19 is still very prominent in the U.S.
The vaccine targets the latest strain in 3 days.
Okay, it's no problem if I go to Chicago.
Meanwhile, here in the state of Texas, Texas is trying to stand its own ground without the help of the federal government. The video you're looking at here in El Paso, as Texas National Guard soldiers continue to use razor wire and physical manpower to try to block large masses of migrants trying to enter the United States illegally. That group of migrants waiting in the Rio Grande, expecting to be led into the country.
Migrant families forcing young children to crawl through razor wire